So here's the coffee bar. The lights are off. It just has a nice soft glow, kind of brings out some of the red. If any of you have a comment, would like to see something in particular, have a question about something, man, let me know. I want to hear your comments and I'll answer you. So let's go out in the shop and let's build this. What I'm going to work on for a little while here is the countertop for the coffee bar. It's already made. If you've seen how I made the dining room table, any furniture, this is done the same way. It's pocket screws on the back, glue, and so this is planed off. It's 1.25 inches thick. Of course, this is the front edge. Now, ordinarily, it wouldn't matter to me if there was nail holes in it, but you know, it's a coffee bar, and who hasn't spilled the coffee or run the pot over? I don't want coffee running down through these nail holes and dripping into the top drawer under there, so I'm going to go ahead and fill everything on here before I finish it, for that reason. I don't want any coffee running through it, so that's what is going to happen now. So the countertop is done for this coffee bar. It's not finished. I still have to sand it and all that, but it's cut to fit. It's ready to go. I don't want to finish it while I'm still working on the rest of this in case I drop something on it. You know, I don't want to. I'll wait and finish it last. So now what I'm going to do is finish putting this barn siding in here. This is tongue and groove barn siding. Still has the nails, because when we take it off, we cut through the nails on the back side and leave the nails in. And then you can knock them out if you want or leave them in. It's still got the nails in it. So I'll take this all the way up, and then I can take these two sides and I can go all the way up with those. And so that's what I'm going to do next, is finish this back side. Now here, this wire is for a hanging lamp that's going to go in there, and then there's also a wire and so there's also a wire that's just dead end right here. It's not wired into anything, but it's run through the wall. It's back here for this switch right here. And I ran that wire in there because when I get this lamp hanging up here, if we decide we want a couple of accent lights on each side, I've got the wire ready to go. All I have to do is cut this hole to accommodate a double switch and tie into that wire. So if I don't run the wire now, then I can't run it, once I get this done. So anyway, there's going to be a wire in the wall. It's not hooked up on either end, but it's there if I need it. So let's go outside and cut these pieces out of this barn siding. Well, I've got these boards all cut. I don't know if you can see or not, but see, they've still got nails in them. I just leave them in there unless they're a problem, or unless for some reason, some look I want them out. I leave them all in. So this is what my wife, she wants that hanging in here. And that'll hang from a square nail. And then this would be about like that up in there, which I think will be fine. So I'm just going to leave it. And so I'm going to go ahead and we'll put these boards in, and then these boards, and then we'll move on from there. These boards right up here, they'll be these finished off boards like this. And so I'm going to have to cut a few of them that are 16 1/8. Let's go out and do that. So this edge right up here, I want it to be as even as I can get it, because this front will come down over it and cover it. But there will also be a small valance across here. And so if there is a little gap in here, it's not going to matter. It won't be seen. Now right here I have the option. I can go in here with this narrow piece that's already cut, and then I have to put a sliver in here. I'm not much of one for slivers if I can help it, so I'm going to go out and pick out a little wider one here that I can rip and fit in there in one piece. So I'll go do that. So this is done. I can see a little bit of light shining through that crack. I don't think that'll matter because this will all be enclosed in. But rather than take a chance, I'll lay a piece of black tar paper up on top of this so no light can ever show through. Well, let's take a look at what I've done so far. You know, the framing of it, you could use, you know, 1x. You don't have to use 2x like I did. I'm framing everything at 2x because I have so much of it from tearing these barns down. The you know, you might have a barn that was built, say, 1889, and then in you know, 1930 or 40 they decided to put an addition on it. Well, that new addition, that's newer wood. It's not cut right for me to sell or use as rough reclaim. So I've got stacks of that wood, you know, that I'm using to build with on this project. So, you know, and which is very handy with the cost of wood, you know, to build with all this free wood. So anyway, so the countertop is done except for the finish work. It needs sanded and finished. The interior here with barn siding is done. These sides are done. This part is done. So now what I'm going to do is drill a hole up in here, and I'll have to kind of determine where I want that hole. And then this lamp, this part right here, is going to stick up through that hole. So this part is going to set level with this. I don't want any of this showing. All of this wiring will be above here. And so that's what I'm going to do next. This is a 4-inch rusty square nail, and I'm going to put it in that hole up there, and that's what there we go. So that's what this is going to hang off of. So that's what my wife bought to put in there. So that's going to hang off of that. Now this, I don't want this to be below this. So now I'm going to figure out the placement for this light. I don't want it clear back in there. I think I may put it more out in here and drill a hole in there, and then this will all go up in that hole. Alright, well, I've got the light wired in up here. It's not hot. And then that's where this is going to go. So I've got that all figured out now. So I'll take this down so it doesn't get dirty. The light's not in the way. And then start finishing out all of this part right here. Coming along. I think what I'll do next is, so up here will be a corrugated steel roof over this thing. So that's what I'm going to work on next, is getting that cut and fit. The time has come to make the roof over that coffee bar. This is just some of the old steel I get off of these barns. It needs to be 36 inches wide because I want a 2-inch overhang, and then if I do it 26 inches in length, that'll give me about 4-inch overhang. So I've got to determine where this one is flatter. So if I make that 36 inches, that would be kind of like that. Yeah. So I've got quite a bit hanging over here. I'm going to cut it off. I don't want, this hanging over this far. That's just more that could probably cause a wrinkle. So I'll cut it off so there's only it off so there's only about 3 inches of this hanging over, and then I'll decide whether I'm going to put it on top or on the bottom. So the front edge, I want to leave it, I don't want to cut this front edge. I want this front edge to just be weathered. If I cut that front edge, it's going to be a shiny cut steel. I don't want that. Same way with these edges. So I guess that's the first thing to do, is cut this one off. Let's see, and then the length, 26. The length would be back there. Before I cut this, I'm going to double check on my measurement because there's no turning back. So up in this corner, I need to get this piece cut. Now, there's a square you can get, you know, that can easily get that angle. But I'm going to do it this way because this is something, any kind of a countertop, any kind of a area, whatever it may be, you can use this method. This is 1/8 inch foam. This is what I use when I form up for my countertops. So it's dirt cheap. You can get about I don't remember what size, but a fair size sheet at Hobby Lobby. And then you just cut it. And so here's what we're going to do. So I've got this glue, nothing special about that, spray on glue. I got that at Home Depot. So I am going to make this, I'm just going to make a pattern so I can cut that piece all in one. So I got this piece cut and it fits flush, perfect. I'll nail that up in there, and then I can put this piece on, and then I'll also have to polyurethane that. So anyway, that was a quick, simple way of making a pattern for a perfect fit. gone out and I've cut this board that'll go right here. I drew a line along here so that board will be straight. And so what I'm going to do is just put one nail in. In case I have to make a change, I'm just putting one nail in there, and then I can easily pop it off, get the nail out, and make the change. So I wanted it to hang down just a little, and it is. And if you're standing down here on the floor, you can see your light. So now I'm going to go ahead and build that on up. And see this knot hole right here? That I love that kind of thing in this old wood. And since this is a real prominent piece right here, when you walk in the kitchen, you're going to be looking at that. I wanted that cool looking knot in there. And I'm cutting this wood out of the same board. In this case, where you're looking at a surface like that, I want it all to match the same color tone. So this is all going to come out of the same wood. So I'll do that. Well, this part up here is done. A couple of cool looking knot holes. My wife has a coffee clock that she's going to put up here. So now it's time to get these end pieces here on and get this framed out. Once that's done, then it's time to get it, wire up the outlets, the switches, get everything on, and then go to building the drawers. So what I'm going to do now is cut these pieces, both sides. So I've got this piece now done. I'll just even it up out here and nail it on. And that's that. I need to varnish these edges, but this part of it is done. I'll get my wife's clock mounted up there for her. We're anxious to see how that looks. And then the next step is I'll get all the switches and outlets. These are GSCI outlets. I'll get all that done and then move down here where there'll be two large pull-out soft close drawers down below. And then this will be done. Time to move on into the rest of the kitchen. Alright, so I've got my grandson here. This is Cashman. He's hanging out with me today, so we'll work on this. Cashman is 5 years old, and he is in his third season of youth rodeo. So what I'm going to do is this, see this old stuff? I got a roll of that out of the last barn I took down. Really cool old barbed wire. I mean, this stuff is old. I got a whole roll of it. So just to add a little bit of character and flavor to this coffee bar, I'm going to put it up here. Just kind of outline it with that barbed wire. So Cashman, he's going to help me. So let's do this. I'm gonna staple it on with staples. All right, Cash Man, put safety glasses on. There's these staples. There's 1, 2, 3. So I'll get some rusty color paint, dull paint. Just hit those heads so they don't show. And so I'm going to get this bent around here. Cash, why don't you put your, let's see, put your finger on that right there. Just like that, buddy.
You want to make a hole in it?
No, I think I'll go just like that. Let me get one in there. Okay, you got your glasses on? Okay. And now put that one. Let's see. Let me bend this back. Okay, let's see. All right, here we go. Okay, I'll put one.
Yeah.
Bend that down. There we go. Put one right up there.
Don't dip.
All right, got your glasses on? All right,
Don't dip one in your hand.
there it is.
Yep, there's a new countertop right here. What?
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
That'll work, Cash.
Yeah, nice.
All right.
Pretty
Okay.
nice.
So what I'm going to do now is I've got these 4-inch square nails, rusty square nails. My wife, she has these coffee cups that she has gotten. We're going to hang them up here. And so now what I'll do is drill a pilot hole. If you notice, these square nails are tapered. They're thicker up here at the top, thinner at the bottom. So they drive in. That's what holds them in so tight. Then on the other hand, when you take a barn down with square nails, it makes it really easy to get them out of there. So let's do that right now. I have found the center of the board, and I've marked where I want my first square nail, and I will put a pilot hole in to get those set. Perfect. That'll work perfect. I'll leave a lot of square nail out so it can't slide off. That'll work. Let's do all the rest of them. All right, so now it's finally time to build the fronts for the 2 drawers in the coffee bar. And since the coffee bar has more of a red theme to it than the rest of the kitchen, of course I'm going to use drawer fronts that have a little bit more red in them. So this is what I've picked out of my stock. One of them needs to be 9 inches by 28 1/4, and the other needs to be 14 1/2 by 28 1/4. So I'll have to rip one and put the 2 pieces together with pocket screws, but that's no biggie. So I'm going to take this one out, cut it to 9 inches by 28 1/4, and get that one out of the way. I'll put it on the table saw and chop saw. So I'll be back. All right. So I got this one ripped. It is, better be 28 1/4, which it is, by 9 inches. So before I continue on with this guy, I'm going to cut the other drawer front. It also is 28 1/2. Man, I hate to cut a, you know, when I cut, 14 1/2, I want the seam in the middle. So that means 7 1/4 on each side. I guess that'll work. You always want to save your piece. Somewhere it'll come in handy. So I'm going to cut I'm going to look for another piece, see if I have any other options. That's what I'm going to do. Alright, so I got this ripped. Those two pieces are ripped, they'll fit good. There's my, let's see, 14 1/2, beautiful. And this one's 9 inches, 28 1/4, 28 1/4. So now I'm going to run these through the planer, because this back side, see, it's rough. It's still rough cut pine. I want that planed off down to the wood grain so that I can finish it, because when you pull the drawer out, around the outer edge of this, you're going to see this. I don't want the rough wood. I want nice, planed off, clean wood. So I'll do that next. This wood is all planed off. This wood, see this? This is what you get with old Barnwood. See that edge? It's got a cup in it. Well, that's just what you learn to live with. I'll kind of sand that by hand, but it's a good piece of wood. You don't want to throw it away because of that. So I'm going to put 7 screws in here, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so here is how those drawer fronts will be. Probably like that, and then like that. Well, might alternate it. Might go like that. Probably like that. That's the drawer fronts. It has red, but not just solid red. And I think that'll work. Now it's time to cut the stiles and rails for these drawer fronts. Now, I'm going to just rip a whole bunch of stock just to finish out the entire kitchen so I don't have to set up and do it again. The larger cabinet doors and these drawers will be 2 3/4 inch width. The narrower drawers around the top, or if there's a narrow door, whatever, that's going to be 1.5 inch thickness, but the routed part will remain the same. So I don't know if you can see this, but I want that lip right there, because when I go to finish this, that brush will ride right on that lip and it'll make it a lot easier. What I'm going to do now is go out on the table saw and just rip a whole bunch of stock, because you know, I want enough to do the entire rest of the kitchen. Whatever's left over, I can use it for the rest of the house, the rest of the build. So here we go. I'm going to go out and rip a bunch of stock, then I'll be back and run it all through the router. I've got these cut to length, and now it's time to go out on the saw and cut 45s on them. But what I like to do when I cut 45s, I like to mark them, because it's just too easy to get out there and it's upside down, you know, or something. So I'm going to mark these so that I can easily tell where I want my 45, because I'm telling you, it sounds like a very silly thing to do, but it'll save you ruining some wood sometime, because it will happen. You will cut your 45 on the wrong angle. It's just a matter of time. And this old wood is too hard to come by to waste. So I'm going to do that. Go out and set my chop saw on 45, and then come back and see how it's all going to fit together, and then proceed from there. Well, it's time now to start putting these drawer fronts, put the stiles and rails, and get these things done. So what I'll do here is I'll kind of match things up, because sometimes if you juggle them around, sometimes they match for some reason better. It's not too bad. So what I'll do is put a couple clamps on here. And let's see how this goes together. Actually, it does a pretty good job. So let me clamp So this is what I'll do. I'll put it together. And that's pretty darn good considering old wood. It's very difficult to get perfect seams with this old wood. So if you can get a pretty darn good seam, that's pretty good. So I like my match. I'm going to shoot a couple of 1 1/4 inch brad nails in here, and in this rough wood they'll just bury in there, they won't even show. So I'll put that in to hold it. Okay. So I'll just keep working with this, get it fit, finish this up, we'll move on to the next project. Alright, now let's get this drawer front on. I've already measured out where I want the handle, 3-inch centers. I'll drill those holes last. To get this front centered on here, I need 1 3/4. I'll show you why. So I've measured the drawer, and if I put a 1 3/4 inch strip right here, that'll center this this way on the drawer, and it'll hold it there. And then I put this piece of black tar paper on there to cover a nail hole so that this light wood won't show through. Alright, so 2 1/8 on each side. You want to make sure your drawer's centered in there, which is 5/8, which it is. So this drawer front is centered on this drawer. So the thing to do now is I will drill these 2 holes. I think I'll probably put, in fact I know I'm going to put a couple clamps on here. So now that I've got it where I want it, I'm going to clamp it just to make sure nothing moves. I am going to do a final check on the level, which is pretty good. So I'm going to leave that. And now I'm going to drill these 2 holes for the handle. Well, let's see how this is going to work. There it is. First drawer's done. Good fit. I won't have to adjust that drawer, so, you know, soft close drawer. Now, same process on the next one.